Hello, hoping you're having a great day. This is Module 2 for our Elements of Music, Music 100 class. In this module, we will be learning about intervals. Now, this module is quite important for ear training skills as well as sight reading skills, particularly for those of you who are going to be majoring in music, or who are, forgive me, majoring in music. As such, you will be not only identifying intervals on sight, you will also be asked to hear them and to identify them. And also, well, if you were taking this in the class, you would also be asked to sing the intervals as well. But for the online classes, you simply need to be able to identify them by sight and once you hear them. And of course, singing them will help you understand the intervals when you hear them. It will help you as well as recognize, it will help you as well to recognize them, all right? So I'm going to flip this camera over, and then we're going to start learning about intervals. Okay, so what are intervals? Intervals are a fundamental part of musical structures and therefore a central part of ear training. All harmonies and melodies can be considered as a sequence or layering of intervals. So that's quite important. This is a major component of ear training as well as sight reading. So therefore, an interval is simply the distance in pitch between two tones. It is labeled by its numerical value and its quality. The numerical value indicates the number of tones of the diatonic scale it includes, and of course the quality is the distance itself and the distance that you hear. All right, so the quality of an interval can be perfect, diminished, augmented, major, or minor. All right. Unisons, fourths, fifths, and octaves are called perfect. Each of these can be diminished by one chromatic tone smaller or augmented by one chromatic tone larger. We'll get to that in a minute. The other ones are merely major or minor. So we're going to learn first of all the intervals that are perfect. The reason why they're called perfect because altering them does not make them major or minor. Altering them makes them either augmented or diminished. So let me separate this paper here. Let's first of all look at intervals in itself. An interval, as we said, can be melodic with two notes played two notes separated, or harmonic. So I'm going to play the example. The example is from G to D. Again, from G to D. And then, of course, as you can see, that's separately on the top line. Now, harmonically, they can be played together. See that? Try it again. And that's the tone that you're hearing. Although this tone is slightly going out of pitch for some reason. But anyway, so that tells you they're melodic and harmonic. Now let's get to the perfect intervals. These are the perfect intervals. Unison. And I'm going to start this with our nice little trusty C major. So, C right here. From C to itself is unison. And we call that perfect unison. Again, from C to itself. Same note, that's all it is. And that is perfect unison. So I'm going to play this C right here. And I want you to hum and simply hum that same note again. You can go hum or loo or ooh or whatever floats your boat. So that is unison. All right. The next one is perfect fourth. As you can see on the chart here, it is C and above it is F. So now let's look at the perfect fourth. Let's try that again. Perfect fourth. You can see the distance between my thumb to my forefinger is 4 pitches. So, now what makes it perfect fourth is the sound. Listen to it again. All right. Now, on your canvas, you not only have these sheets that I'm referring to on this video, you should also have this sheet right here. And this is a semitone chart. The semitone chart is going to come in handy throughout the remainder of the semester. As you can notice, it goes up by semitones or halftones. So for example, we just got through playing a perfect fourth. Play it again. Now, when we go to this semitone chart, we notice that the perfect fourth, notice the second line on the left side, is 5 semitones. So let's go back to playing those 5 semitones. From C to C sharp, to D sharp, to E, and then to F. Sing those 2 notes to yourself. A tune that comes in handy to remember this is Here Comes the Bride. So if you can sing Here Comes the Bride very cleanly, you have just sung a perfect fourth. When played together, it sounds like this. Play it again. Sounds pretty complete, does it? All right, that's one of the natures of a perfect interval. So that's your perfect fourth. Good. The next interval that we need to work on is the perfect fifth. The perfect fifth, you notice how it's graphically presented from C to G. That's P5 or perfect fifth, from C to G. Now let's see how it sounds on the keyboard. That's pretty cool. I'll play one more time. Hum along with it. And that's your perfect fifth. Let's look at the semitone chart. Notice on the top of the left-hand side, it gives perfect fifth, and it says it's 7 half steps or 7 semitones upward. So let's go ahead and play that. So let's start it again. Sorry about that. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here's your perfect fifth. And a good song to do that one. Twinkle, 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 little star, I wonder where you are. So, twinkle, twinkle. If you can start singing twinkle, twinkle very cleanly, you have a perfect fifth. Or, ooh, just a formation of a major chord. Ooh. If you've done choirs, you would have done this as some sort of a vocalese. And so on. So that's your perfect fifth. the fifth tone from the root, from the bottom note. And again, that is 7 semitones. The next interval is an octave. You notice from on the graph from C to the C above it. Remember we learned that between the two C's, from one C to the next C, we consider that as an octave. And an octave simply means 8 tones. Eight steps, that is, but not necessarily 8 semitones. It's more semitones than that. Actually, it's 12 semitones, I believe. But let's go ahead and play the regular octave. Hear that? It's a very wide jump. Now, this is the unison. Exact same note and exact same tonality. Just low tonality here. But if you do the octave, one note's going to sound either higher or lower than the other, depending upon where it's played. So let's play a low octave. Oops. That's your low octave. So this is the high octave. Easy song to know this. Somewhere over the rainbow, somewhere, and that is your octave. Don't mind my voice today. I am so tired. I didn't get much sleep last night. And I'm videotaping this on the day before I have to go travel to sing. Anyway, but that is your octave. So the semitones from it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's the most semitones in between, so it's 12. So there you are. There is your octave. All right? All right, let me show that to you one more time as I get ready to flip this. Now, the unison, the fourth, and the fifth, and the octave are perfect. They are never major. They are never minor. They are always perfect. You may hear some teachers say that the perfect fourth and the perfect fifth are also major. That is incorrect. The perfect fourth and the perfect fifth are just that. Perfect fourth, perfect fifth. The unison and octave are also perfect. They're not major. They're perfect. Unison and octave. All right? All the other intervals we're going to learn about right now. So we're going to first learn about major intervals. All right? You notice this graph, you see M2, M3, M6, and M7. So I just taught you by ear the perfect intervals. Now let's go through the major intervals, all right? So let's first of all look at the second one next to the unison. Major second. So let's play that on the piano. Let's play it again. Pretty close to each other, right? And that is a major second. Look on the keyboard again. Just from C to D. And in this case, we know it's major because we have a semitone in between. So 1, 2 semitones makes this a major second. Or when we have a half step in between. Now that's visually, but listen to it. Hear that? Play it again. Many people would confuse that for a minor second, but this is a major second. Listen again. Listen one more time. All right? Like you're going up a scale. Just going stepwise. As you can see on our chart, towards the bottom it says major second. It says 2 semitones from C to D, or C sharp rather, from C to C sharp, and then from C sharp to D. Makes it a major second. All right? Loo, loo. Sing that with me, and loo, loo. Very good. Yeah, I know that kind of felt a little PBS there, you know. Sing that with me. Very good, children. Anyway, I know you're not children. But anyway, this is now the major third. Major third. All right? And it sounds something like this. Hear that again. Hear that one more time. Now, major third is comprised, if you can see the graph, of 4 semitones. 4 semitones is a major third. So, I want you to hear that one more time. Now remember when I play the perfect fifth? So, now listen very carefully. Notice how different that perfect fourth sounds? And that's a major third. I'll play the perfect fourth again. And now I'll play the major third. So you can't put in twinkle, twinkle. Doesn't sound right. I'm sorry, here comes the bride. Forgive me. Here comes the bride. You can't put that in there. Besides, that'd be a very sad bride. Here comes the bride. There's your perfect fourth there. But this is not your perfect fourth. This is your major third. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 steps in between the root, or the bottom note to the top note. And that's your major third. We've done the perfect fourth and perfect fifth. So now we're at the major sixth. Listen very carefully. Listen again. You hear that? One more time. Whenever I think of a major six, I think of NBC. Remember the NBC Peacock theme? They play it a lot nowadays. It was an old theme back when NBC was created, and it was a nice little peacock, and they just basically played. And that's believe it or not, that's the only theme of any channel that is still being played. Of the major channels, maybe some farm channels, but for the major channels, that's the only one still being played. So, NBC. And notice the distance is a major six, is 9 steps from the bottommost note to the top note. So here's your 9 steps. 1 to C sharp, 2 to D, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There you go. Now I want you to listen to its neighboring intervals. This is a perfect fifth. Ooh. Twinkle, twinkle. Now listen to the major 6. Just a little bit wider. N, B, and it resolves to this here. N, B, C. So twinkle, twinkle. And an NBC theme. So when you're playing these intervals, play them against one another, back to back. Like for example, I just played the perfect fifth here, so that you can really hear them. All right? You can't get twinkle, twinkle, twinkle in there, can you? NBC. All right? The next one that's major is the major 7th. That one is a very wide jump. It sounds pretty incomplete. It sounds like it just wants to end its life right here. It's so close to the octave, it's just one semitone away. See, notice? So notice the major 7th, 1, 2, 3, 4th from the bottom on the left-hand side. That's 11 tones, 11 semitones. It almost sounds like it wants to go here, and that's his neighbor. That's the octave. Somewhere. If you want to approach it that way. Somewhere. There was a song that came out in the 1980s by a group called Aha. Let's see if I can find it. So I'm going to start right here. Take on me. So that take on is that major 7th. Take on me. And it resolves right there. The word resolves means come to a final point. And you'll hear musicians say a resolution or resolve the chord or whatever. It simply means come to a final point or finality, whatever that final point is. And usually that final point is, of course, a cadence. You'll learn about a few of those types of things later on in this semester, hopefully. Take on, and here's the resolution. Me, take on. So that's your major 7th. So I'm going to go back to C major key. Take on me. And that is your 7th. All right? All right. So now you have your perfects and your majors. All right? So now I'm going to teach you, now we've gotten a bigger interval scale, and don't worry, all of these are, excuse me, I had to burp there for a second. All of these are on your canvas. So, we've worked on majors and we worked on perfects. Look at the center area here. Phone issues. All right, don't worry about the bottom line, the middle line here. You see the perfect fourth, you see something in the middle, and you see the perfect fifth. The one thing about perfect chords, perfect intervals, is that they can be shorter or wider by simply going up a half step. When you take a perfect fourth up a half step, it becomes an augmented fourth. The other term for it is called a tritone. All right? So this becomes an augmented fourth, and it's called a tritone. And the reason why it's called a tritone is simply it is 3 whole steps. Look at your chart here. Look at the bottom, and you notice it says tritone plus 6. You see the minus 6 as well. We're descending. Right now we're going to be just ascending on these intervals. We'll descend a little bit later. So I want you to look at the tritone as soon as I angle the camera. So listen to your perfect fourth. Listen to the perfect fourth. Now listen to the tritone, just 1 half step up. Now you can see it on the keyboard. One more time. And that's an augmented fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or 1, 2, 3 whole steps. There you are. And that's your tritone. It's one of those things you just have to hear. If it sounds really odd, but not as odd and big as this, that's pretty odd, but it's also really big. But it sounds odd and it's quite small. Like it's in the middle of the world here. That is your tritone, or your augmented fourth. A perfect fifth, so an augmented fourth going upward, is a tritone. Going up is a tritone. By the way, a perfect fourth going down is called a diminished fourth. That's a diminished fourth. Augmented fourth. Perfect fourth, augmented fourth, and diminished fourth. So if you notice, a diminished fourth sounds like a major third, because a diminished fourth and the major third are the same thing. When we play the same note, for example, this is C, this can also be B sharp. Here's my B. I'm going half step up and makes it a B sharp. That term is called enharmonic, when the same tonality can have two separate ways of saying it's enharmonic. All right, so perfect fourth, augmented fourth, perfect fourth, augmented fourth, perfect fourth, perfect fourth, and this is a diminished fourth. All right? So this is called a tritone or an augmented fourth because we raised the pitch upward. All right. The next interval, now we're at tritone. So that's a perfect fourth going upward. And then we increase it by a half step. So when you're learning to hear these tritones, simply play the perfect interval that is derived from. And that's your augmented fourth. Now, I'm going to play the perfect fifth and listen to the perfect fifth and hum it. While I'm doing these examples, when you go back through the video, hum these intervals. The more you hum it, and humming it, not playing it on the piano only or whatever instrument you have, but also humming it, particularly those of you who sing. When you hear it yourself sing it, believe me, you're more apt to know that interval better than if you just played it or had someone play it for you. I'm playing it for you, but just hum it along. So this is the perfect fifth. Or sing the tune that you're going to associate with it. Twinkle, twinkle. Can you hear that? Don't worry about the background noise. I'm in the music building in my studio, and of course, people are coming in and out the door. Twinkle, twinkle. You hear that? Now, I'm going to go back to that tritone. In this case, I've gone a half step lower than the perfect fifth interval. Now I've gone a half step lower. So the tritone in this case has another name. So this is one interval that has actually three names. Augmented fourth. That's a perfect fifth. So I'm going half step down. And it's called a diminished fifth. So half step up from the perfect fourth. Augmented fourth. Half step down from the perfect fifth. Diminished fifth. So when you hear a tritone, you can identify it one of three ways. Augmented fourth, diminished fifth, or just the word tritone. So I'm playing it again. That's the perfect fourth. There's the tritone, augmented fourth. That's the perfect fifth. There's the tritone. See? It's going to all be written the same way. But if I have, for example, the C to the F sharp, I'm going to call that an augmented fourth when I write it down. All right? Hearing it, you're going to identify it one of three ways, but when you visually see it, you need to see it based on the distance between the first note and the second note. All right? So look at the tritone here. I'm going to fade it back here. C to F sharp, C, D, E, F. That's 4 letters. And I've raised it, so therefore we know that's a raised note, so that's a tritone. So therefore we will call this an augmented fourth. We can't call it a major fourth because obviously perfect chords cannot be made major nor minor. Perfect chords can only be made augmented or diminished. And that's an absolute, by the way. Again, it's a perfect 4. And all I did was raise this to an F sharp. So therefore, this will be an augmented fourth. Now you see the perfect fifth? Now I don't have this as an example, but if I were to lower that perfect fifth, you see, it sounds the same, but I would actually call that a G flat. G flat is enharmonic to F sharp. Remember we learned that? G flat is enharmonic to F sharp. But because I've identified that as a G flat, From C to G is a fifth. From C to G flat, therefore, is a diminished fifth. So look at the letters on the staff. And just imagine if I had placed a flat in front of that G. From C to G is a fifth. It's an interval of a fifth. So from C to G flat would still be an interval of a fifth. We just need to identify it correctly as a diminished fifth. Notice the fourth. This one is graphically written. From C to F is a fourth. C, D, E, F. And therefore from C to F sharp is a tritone, but I will identify that as an augmented fourth. All right? So those are our diminished and augmented intervals. All right? All right. Now we're going to do minor intervals. Look at the top bar, and you'll see minor intervals all through here. See a minor second, a minor third, a minor sixth, and a minor seventh. These tones, however, can also be augmented or diminished. They'll just have different names. Minor intervals can be minor and major intervals can also be diminished or augmented intervals as well. But perfect intervals can never be minor or major. Although they'll look minor or major if you identify it in a different way. I don't want to confuse you, so let's keep it at a basic absolute. Perfect intervals can only be made diminished or augmented. Major and minor intervals can also be made augmented and diminished. All right? So let's look at the minor second. So here's the minor second. From C to C sharp. Now listen to the major second, its neighbor. That's the major second. Listen to the minor second. Nowhere to go. Now listen to the major second. All right? As you see, there's only one semitone, and that makes it a minor second, one step. That should be at the bottom next to tritone. On the left-hand side, we'll just worry about ascending. Just one half step. And notice major second. There we go. So here's your minor second. And a major second. All right. The next one is a major third. And remember, a major third has 4 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. A minor third is 1 half step lower. That's our minor third. So let's look at the semitone chart again. Look at the difference between the major third and the minor third. Major third is 3 steps up. Minor third, rather, is 3 steps. And a major third is 4 steps. Is your minor third. Jesus loves me, this I know. We'll transpose it. Let's see, that's a 5. That's a minor third. And there's our minor third here. That's my minor third there. So that's one tune for a minor third. All right. And here the major third. If you would try to voice that out, and that's your major triad. We'll learn triads in another module. Minor. Notice how that sounds? That's minor. All right? Now, that's how it sounds together. Sounds more easy to your ear, unless you get into weird chords like this. There you are. The next one is a major 6. Remember that NBC theme? NBC, NBC. That's a major 6, by the way, down a major third. NBC. But it can be made also by lowering it, making it into a minor third. I'm sorry, minor 6. Almost sounds like it wants to resolve. Notice the minor 6 has 8 semitones. You notice I haven't played the semitones from this point on, because I'm certain you can take care of that and play them on your own small little keyboard. All right? So that's your minor 6. Play that again. I'll play the major 6. Oh, where's my C here? Major 6. Minor 6. All right? Now, I'm going to play the perfect fifth for you. I played the tritone for you. And that's of course, a diminished fifth. I forgot to play for you the augmented fifth, going half step up. And of course, this is your major 6. And going half step down, this is a minor 6, or an augmented fifth. That's an augmented fifth, perfect fifth, augmented fifth, major 6, minor 6. All right? All right. So that's a major 6, the next one. The 7th, major 7th, minor 7th, major 7th, minor 7th. Almost resolves. That resolves more clean. This one you just really have to know. Not too many songs with this that I can come up with in my head. I have little sheets to also give me a guide, but I can't think of any song that will take care of this interval here. And that's called your minor 7th. You got it? Major 6, major 7th, minor 7th. All right, the only interval that we did not do is the octave. We did the octave, but we didn't do its diminished counterpart, which of course is a, guess what? A major 7th. So here's the octave. Here's a diminished octave or a major seventh. Got it? All right, so that, of course, is our intervals chart. Now you see how these intervals look. Ooh, that looks confusing, does it? It really doesn't. From a perfect unison to a minor second to a major second to a minor third to a major third to a perfect fourth to an augmented fourth, which is the same as a diminished fifth, a perfect fifth, a major sixth, minor sixth, a major seventh, a minor seventh, a major seventh, you know what I'm getting at, and a perfect eighth. I think I made a mistake somewhere. I'm not going to play this one for you. I want you to take this and put it on your piano keyboard and play those tonalities separately and together as one of your listening homework assignments. All right? All right, let me flip this camera. I'll be right back to you. All right, so that was the lesson on intervals. I tried to make it as basic as possible. There are also videos on YouTube that may be more clear to you than what I did, or maybe more confusing, whichever way you want. But also on the modules, there is a zip file of a lot of examples of listening. Now, I did everything for this exercise in C, but those other exercises are in many different keys. And you do need to be able to hear intervals in many different keys. The one thing, okay, hold on for a second. Whew, my hand hurts. All right, there we go. The one thing I like about the zip file of listening is that you'll hear the interval and then you'll hear a man tell you what the interval is. So hear the interval, pause it, and then guess it and see if you match his guess. And then with your piano keyboard on your phone, or if you're at a piano, try to play or mimic that interval as best as possible and see what it looks like, all right? I also have some visual examples for you to look at and identify the interval on site as well, with a little guide to help you out with that, all right? My eyes are probably going this, that, and the other on the video, are they? Anyway, hope that helps you with your interval study. Study them very well, and of course the quiz will pop up on the module as soon as possible. All right? Thanks so much and have a great day. Find button here.